Ayo sat in his office, his head resting in his hands. He couldn't stop replaying Dr. Tunde's words in his mind. Do the smart thing, or face the consequences. The weight of the situation pressed down on him like a heavy load. If Dr. Tunde testified against him, no one would believe his innocence. The hospital's reputation, his hard-earned career, and his medical license, all of it would be gone. What do I do? Ayo whispered to himself. Tears welled up in his eyes as he wrestled with the decision. Minutes felt like hours as he sat there, thinking of his family, Zara, and all the sacrifices that had brought him to this point. Finally, he made up his mind. I have no choice, he said, standing up. Ayo walked into Peter's room, his heart pounding in his chest. Peter looked even older than he had the day before. His frail body trembled as he lay on the bed, his once youthful face now deeply wrinkled. Peter turned his tired eyes toward Ayo. Doctor, he croaked, is there any hope for me? Ayo didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the golden wristwatch gleaming on Peter's wrist. Peter, I'm sorry, Ayo muttered under his breath. Before Peter could respond, Ayo stepped closer and grabbed Peter's hand. With a quick pull, he removed the wristwatch from Peter's wrist. Peter gasped and tried to speak, but Ayo had already turned away. He clutched the wristwatch tightly, planning to hand it to Tunde immediately. But just as Ayo was about to leave the room, a nurse walked in. Startled, Ayo instinctively slipped the wristwatch onto his own wrist to avoid suspicion. Dr. Ayo, is everything okay? The nurse asked, looking at him curiously. Yes, Ayo said quickly, forcing a smile. I just came to check on Peter. The nurse nodded and turned her attention to the patient. Ayo hurried out of the room and back to his office, his hands trembling. As soon as Ayo sat down at his desk, he felt a strange sensation. It started as a slight tingling in his fingers, then quickly spread through his entire body. What's happening? He whispered, panic rising in his chest. He looked down at his hands and froze. His skin was wrinkling before his eyes, his once youthful hands turning frail and aged. He stood up and stumbled to the mirror on the wall. No, this can't be real, Ayo said, his voice trembling. Staring back at him in the mirror was not the young doctor he had always been. His face was aged, his hair gray, and his body weak. He reached for the wristwatch, desperately trying to pull it off, but it wouldn't budge. Come off! Ayo cried, tugging at the wristwatch, but it was stuck. In a panic, Ayo ran out of his office and back to Peter's room. Peter! He shouted, his voice shaky. Peter was sitting up in bed, looking completely healthy and youthful. His skin was smooth, his posture strong, and his eyes bright. Peter smiled at Ayo. Ah, doctor, thank you for taking the wristwatch. I feel like myself again. Ayo fell to his knees. Peter, please, take it back. Peter shook his head. I can't. I won't make the same mistake twice. Please, Ayo begged, tears streaming down his face. I didn't know this would happen. Peter stood up and adjusted his shirt. The only way to get rid of it is if someone steals it from you. That's how it works. With those words, Peter walked past Ayo, leaving him kneeling on the floor, crying. Moments later, the commotion attracted the attention of the other doctors and nurses. They rushed into the room, shocked by what they saw. Ayo? One of the nurses said, covering her mouth. What happened to you? Dr. Tunde arrived shortly after, his face pale as he stared at Ayo's transformed appearance. Ayo rushed to Tunde and grabbed his arm. Please, Dr. Tunde, help me, take the wristwatch. Tunde recoiled, shaking his head. I can't touch that thing. I'm sorry, Ayo. Ayo fell to the ground, sobbing. Someone, please help me. Dr. Nandi, the head doctor, was informed about the situation. When he arrived, he examined Ayo and ordered the nurses to place him in a ward. We'll administer some drugs to keep him calm, Dr. Nandi said. We need to monitor him and figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Zara was calling Ayo repeatedly, but he wasn't answering. Worried, she called Bola. "Hello, Mama Ayo," Zara said, her voice anxious. "Have you heard from Ayo today?" "No, my dear. Why? Is something wrong?" Bola asked. "I've been calling him, but he's not picking up," Zara said. "Let me try his number," Bola said. "I'll call you back." After hanging up, Bola and Purity began calling Ayo, but his phone just kept ringing without an answer. "Mama, something is wrong," Purity said, her voice trembling. "We're going to the hospital," Bola said firmly. When they arrived at the hospital, they were met with the shock of their lives. Ayo was lying on a hospital bed, looking old and frail, with tears streaming down his face. "Ayo!" Bola cried, rushing to his side. "What happened to you?" Purity gasped, her hands covering her mouth. "Brother Ayo, is this really you?" Ayo looked at them with tear-filled eyes. "Mama." "Purity. I made a mistake." The room was filled with doctors and nurses as Ayo told them everything about the wristwatch, Dr. Tunde's blackmail, and how he had taken the wristwatch to protect himself. The hospital's management immediately reviewed the CCTV footage. It clearly showed Dr. Tunde administering the overdose injection that killed the patient. That night, the police were called and Dr. Tunde was arrested. As the doctors monitored Ayo, Bola called Zara to update her. "Zara, my daughter," Bola said, her voice shaking. "Ayo is in the hospital. Something terrible has happened." "What happened, Mama?" Zara asked, her heart racing. Bola explained everything, and Zara burst into tears. "Why didn't he tell me?" Zara cried. "Why didn't he confide in us?" Later that night, Zara video-called Ayo. His frail face appeared on the screen and her heart broke. "Ayo," she said gently, trying to hold back her tears. "Why didn't you tell me? Or Mama, we could have helped you." "I didn't want to bother anyone," Ayo said, his voice weak. "I thought I could handle it on my own." "Ayo, we're your family. We're here for you," Zara said firmly. "You have to be strong. You'll get through this." Bola and Purity stayed by Ayo's side, comforting him as he drifted in and out of sleep. That night, Ayo prayed silently, hoping for a miracle to reverse the mistake he had made. The hospital room was quiet, except for the faint sound of Ayo's breathing. Bola sat on a chair by his bed, her hands clasped tightly in prayer. Her lips moved silently as tears rolled down her cheeks. She had not slept the entire night. "Lord, please heal my son," she whispered. "He has made a mistake, but he is a good man. He saves lives every day. Please, Lord, don't let this be the end for him." Purity was curled up on a chair in the corner, her face buried in her knees. She had tried to stay awake, but exhaustion had overtaken her. Bola looked at Ayo's frail body, her heart breaking. She knelt beside the bed, resting her head on the edge of the mattress. "God, I trust you," she said, her voice trembling. "Show us a way out of this." As the first light of morning peeked through the window, Bola stood up with renewed determination. She touched Ayo's shoulder gently. "Ayo," she called softly. Ayo stirred, opening his tired eyes. "Mama," he whispered weakly. "Stand up, my son," Bola said firmly. Ayo looked confused. "Why, Mama? I feel so weak." "Stand up," Bola repeated. "Last night I had a revelation. God told me that if you save someone today, you will be healed. That is the key to your deliverance." Ayo stared at her, unsure of what to say. "Mama, how can I save someone like this? Look at me." Bola placed her hand on his shoulder. "Ayo, you are a doctor. God has given you the gift to save lives. Do not let this situation stop you. Have faith, my son." Purity woke up, rubbing her eyes. "Mama, what's going on?" "Ayo is going to save someone today," Bola said confidently. Purity looked at her brother, then at her mother. "Mama, are you sure?" "Yes, Purity," Bola said. "I know what I saw in my dream." Ayo took a deep breath and slowly sat up. "If you believe, Mama, then I will try." Bola smiled. "That's my son. God will be with you." Ayo was sitting in his office later that morning, feeling weak but determined. He was still trying to process his mother's words when the door burst open. "Doctor, please help my son!" a woman screamed, running into the room with a little boy in her arms. The boy was gasping for breath, his face pale and his body limp. Ayo stood up quickly, his heart racing. What happened to him? "He was eating and he started choking," the woman cried. "Please save him." The woman hesitated when she saw Ayo's frail appearance. Are you sure you can help him?" "Yes," Ayo said firmly, reaching out for the child. "Trust me." The woman reluctantly handed the boy over to Ayo. Ayo laid the boy on the examination table and quickly assessed the situation. The boy's airway was blocked and his breathing was shallow. "Stay calm," Ayo said, glancing at the mother. "I'll help him." He tilted the boy's head back and carefully performed the Heimlich maneuver. After a few tense moments, the boy coughed violently, and a small piece of food flew out of his mouth. The boy gasped and began breathing normally. His color returned and his body relaxed. "Thank you, doctor," the woman cried, hugging her son tightly. "Thank you so much." "You're welcome," Ayo said, stepping back with a small smile. As soon as the boy recovered, something incredible happened. Ayo felt a strange sensation on his wrist. He looked down and saw the golden wristwatch glowing brightly. "What's happening?" Ayo whispered, his heart pounding. Before his eyes, the wristwatch disappeared into thin air. At the same time, his body began to transform. His wrinkled skin smoothed out, his hair turned black again, and his strength returned. "Ayo!" Bola's voice rang out as she and Purity rushed into the room. Everyone stared in shock as Ayo returned to his original self. "Brother Ayo!" Purity cried, running to hug him. "Mama, I'm back," Ayo said, tears streaming down his face. Bola pulled him into a tight embrace. "Thank you, Lord," she exclaimed. "I told you, my son, God is faithful." The nurses and doctors who had gathered around began clapping and cheering. "You're a miracle worker, Dr. Ayo," one of the nurses said. Later that day, Dr. Nandi, the head doctor, met with Ayo in his office. "Ayo, you've been through a lot," Dr. Nandi said. "You've shown incredible strength and courage, but you need to rest. I'm giving you a week off to recover." "Thank you, sir," Ayo said gratefully. That evening, Bola and Purity helped Ayo pack his things. "Mama, I can't believe this nightmare is finally over," Ayo said, shaking his head. "It's over, my son," Bola said with a smile. "God has delivered you." Purity grinned. "I told you, brother Ayo, you're the hero of this family." They laughed and hugged as they prepared to leave for Abeokuta. For the first time in days, Ayo felt a sense of peace and gratitude. As they drove home, Ayo looked out the window, silently thanking God for a second chance. He knew he had learned a valuable lesson, one he would never forget. When they arrived at their family home in Abeokuta, the warm evening breeze carried the familiar scent of home. Ayo stepped out of the car, feeling a mixture of relief and gratitude. He had barely taken a few steps toward the door when he heard a familiar voice. "Brother Ayo," Toby called, rushing out of the house with a big smile on his face. "Toby?" Ayo asked, surprised. "What are you doing here? I thought you'd still be at school." Toby embraced his brother tightly. "Mama told me everything. How could I stay in school when you were going through so much? I had to come home." Ayo's father walked out next, his strong, weathered face breaking into a smile when he saw his son. He pulled Ayo into a firm hug, holding him like he never wanted to let go. "My son," his father said, his voice filled with emotion. "Everything will be all right. We thank God you're back and safe." "Thank you, Papa," Ayo said, his voice trembling. "It feels so good to be home." That evening, the family gathered around the dining table for dinner. Bola had cooked Ayo's favorite meal, pounded yam with a goosey soup. The warm, loving atmosphere filled the room as they ate and shared stories. "Ayo," Toby said between bites, "Mama told me you've been through a lot, but look at you now. You're stronger than ever." Ayo smiled. "It wasn't easy, but with Mama's prayers and everyone's love, I pulled through." Purity chimed in. Of course you did. You're the superhero of this family. Everyone laughed, and Io felt his heart swell with gratitude. Later that night, as Io relaxed in his room, his phone rang. It was Zara. "Hey, my love," Io said, answering the call. "Io, how's my favorite doctor doing?" Zara asked, her voice cheerful. "I'm doing much better," Io said. "Being home with my family is just what I needed." "I'm glad to hear that," Zara replied. "I've been thinking about you a lot." They talked for a long time, sharing updates and reminiscing about old memories. Zara's voice was like a soothing balm to Io, and by the time the call ended, he felt even more at peace. Io's stay in Abeokuta was filled with love and care. His family showered him with attention, ensuring he felt fully recovered. As for Zara, she kept in touch daily, calling and texting to check on him. When it was time to return to Abuja, Io felt refreshed and alive again. He packed his bags and hugged everyone tightly before leaving. Back in Abuja, Io arrived at his apartment, ready to resume work. He was unpacking his things when his phone rang. "Hello?" Io answered, smiling when he saw Zara's name. "Io," Zara said playfully. "What are you doing?" "Just unpacking," Io replied. "Why?" "Well," Zara said with a teasing tone, "you should open your door." "My door?" Io laughed. "Zara, don't joke with me. I just got back." "I'm not joking. Open the door and see," Zara said, her voice full of excitement. Curious, Io walked to the door and opened it. There, standing tall and beautiful, was Zara, her suitcase beside her. "Zara!" Io exclaimed, his face lighting up. Before he could say another word, Zara stepped forward and hugged him tightly. "I missed you so much," Zara said, her voice muffled against his chest. "I missed you too," Io said, pulling her closer. They shared a kiss, their hearts full of love and relief. Inside the apartment, Io looked at Zara with a big smile. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" "If I told you, it wouldn't have been a surprise," Zara said, grinning. "You're full of surprises," Io said, shaking his head. "But thank you for coming. I have so much to tell you." "I'm all ears," Zara said, sitting on the couch. Io went to the kitchen and quickly prepared a simple meal for both of them. They ate together in the living room, talking and laughing. "By the way," Zara said after dinner, "I've finished my final exams." "That's amazing," Io said, his eyes lighting up. "I'm so proud of you, Zara." "Thank you," Zara said. "I'll be going back in a few weeks to finalize everything, but I couldn't wait. I needed to see you and make sure you were okay." "Thank you for loving me unconditionally," Io said, holding her hand. "I promise to always confide in you from now on." Zara smiled. "That's all I ever wanted." They spent the evening reminiscing, laughing, and sharing their dreams for the future. Zara stayed in Abuja for a few days, during which she visited Io's family in Abeokuta. It was a joyful reunion, filled with laughter and love. Bola, Toby, and Purity welcomed her warmly, treating her like part of the family. "You've found a good woman, Io," Bola said with a knowing smile. "I know, Mama," Io said, holding Zara's hand. Before Zara returned abroad, Io planned a special surprise. On her last evening in Abuja, he took her to a quiet, romantic spot. Under the soft glow of fairy lights, Io got down on one knee and held out a ring. "Zara, you've been my best friend, my partner, and my greatest supporter. Will you marry me?" Zara's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, Io, 1,000,000 times yes." They hugged tightly, their hearts full of love and hope for the future. 2 years later, Zara returned to Nigeria for good. With Ayo's help, she got a job as a medical doctor at the same hospital where he worked. Together, they thrived, supporting each other both personally and professionally. Not long after, they decided it was time to get married. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration of love, surrounded by family and friends. Years later, Ayo and Zara were blessed with 3 lovely children, a boy and 2 girls. Their home was filled with laughter, love, and the sound of little feet running around. Toby became a successful engineer, making his family proud with his achievements. Purity fulfilled her dream of becoming a superstar, starring in both local and international movies. As for Bola and her husband, they lived comfortably, supported and cared for by their children. The family's journey was one of love, resilience, and unshakable faith, and they lived happily ever after. Lesson from the story. In life, no matter how hard things may seem, it's always important to stay honest and never take shortcuts. Ayo's story teaches us that doing the wrong thing, even when you feel trapped, can bring more trouble than you can handle. When faced with challenges, speak up, trust your loved ones, and seek help from the right people. We also learn that family is a great source of strength. Ayo's family stood by him when things went wrong, and their love and prayers helped him find his way again. Finally, this story reminds us to trust God. No matter how hopeless things seem, faith, love, and doing the right thing will always lead to a better outcome. Thank you for watching this story on AFROTALES TV. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment, and share with friends and family. We have more beautiful stories coming your way, so subscribe and stay tuned. See you in the next one.